morning, welcome back to another What I Ate in a Day. Let's kick things off with some breakfast. So I get asked about my supplements a lot, and I've actually added 2 new things into my morning supplement routine because I've injured my knee. I slightly tore one of my ligaments, so I'm on a kind of repair focused program at the moment. Things I've added in is liposomal vitamin C and also a scoop of hydrolyzed collagen. So if you haven't heard of liposomal before, it's basically like the best way to package certain nutrients into a way that you can really optimize absorption. So liposomal is and has always been my delivery mechanism of choice. I much prefer liposomal supplements over kind of pressed pill forms. You just get so much more into your system. And I'm a big believer, the same with Epitome, that duo cap system, the way that you package what you're buying is going to affect how much you're actually able to absorb and utilize it. The only thing with this stuff is it tastes absolutely horrible. I've also got my creatine in here, I've got my 5 grams. I do take that every single day. Oh God, it's so rank. Oh, nothing like washing it down with a bit of beefy water. And then of course, Epitome once a day, every single day. I do have to say I injured my knee probably about a week ago, and already I am back on the reformer. Definitely have noticed a significant improvement in my recovery. Whether it's down to the liposomal vitamin C and collagen, who knows? But I always just like to give my body every single thing that it needs to kind of optimize its function. So that's my supplement routine out the way. Let's make breakfast. So one of my most popular What I Eat in a Day short form videos that's done really well on here. I made this frozen fruit crumble and loads of people asked for the recipe, so I thought I'd just show you guys how I make it. It's one of my ultimate speedier, preppable breakfasts. If you don't fancy something savory, if you do want something sweet, but it's still got all of that fiber, protein formula, so it's gonna keep you nice and balanced. Great for kids as well. I feel like if you're a busy family and you really wanna throw something together that every single person's gonna tuck into and enjoy, this is a winner. I also like how you can serve it warm, because sometimes, especially if you're in winter and those colder, darker months, overnight oats just doesn't feel as appealing. So having this kind of warm crumble just be like a really lovely thing to start your day with. Just get the rest of the ingredients. It looks like a few ingredients, but all of these things I have in my store cupboard. Once you buy them, they will sit there. You can make this breakfast again and again. Also utilize in other recipes. So don't get overwhelmed by the amount of things that it looks like. It also utilizes a bag of frozen fruit, which is such a great economical way to buy berries. Berries, in my opinion, are the best fruit for you. They're so full of antioxidants. They're really high in fiber. So whenever you have kind of raspberries, blackberries, you eat the seeds. And obviously in the health space, we're always talking about eating more fiber, eating nuts and seeds. So having berries, they're basically just naturally incorporated into them. We're going to be using this. We don't have to defrost it or do anything to it. Top it with this lovely kind of oaty high fiber tahini crumble mix. Serve it with a generous amount of yogurt to really get that protein hit. Now, I don't want to turn my oven on, so I'm going to do these in my air fryer, but you can literally do these in as big a dish, stick it into the oven. It can serve 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, but shock. I'm going to be baking these in my Black and Blum because they fit into my air fryer and I love them. I'm not actually sponsored by these guys. I have messaged them back and forth. I actually asked them for an affiliate code for my audience just because I genuinely use them every single day. They're like one of my favorite bits of kitchen kit. Snip. Lid. A bit loud, sorry. And then and then just sprinkle a generous amount of fruit into these. This is the M&S berry mix. So it's got blackberries, strawberries, black currants, red currants, and raspberries. All of those kind of deep, vibrant purple foods are indicative of something called anthocyanins, which is a type of polyphenol. Don't worry too much about those complicated words, but they are just so good for vascular function, brain function, really good for helping basically dilate your blood vessels all throughout your body. So if you're thinking about nutrient delivery of all of this nutrition, it's just going to help get it to every single place that it needs, all of the cracks and crevices of your body. I love these for skin health. I think they are the kind of best fruits and colours and antioxidants to eat for your skin. Really, really high in vitamin C as well. So if we're going to be pairing that vitamin C with the protein, as I mentioned earlier, that is the perfect combination for collagen synthesis. This is basically getting all of that in one, which hopefully is going to mean that my knee repairs even quicker. I like a really tart base, but in order to mellow this down slightly, I am going to add a few drops of liquid stevia. This is a natural plant-based sweetener. Do try and limit my artificial sweetener intake. It's not something that I actively heavily avoid. I don't really kind of black and white rule out anything other than full sugar drinks. That is just something that I personally don't choose to put into my body. But I just added a couple of drops of that liquid stevia. There is no research that I have read to suggest that it's bad for my health, so I'm happy to incorporate them. And I'd rather have that a little addition of sweetness whilst not having to add the extra sugar. Just get a stainless steel mixing bowl, which I'm going to build my crumble into now. But it's also worth mentioning that the fiber in the fruits and all the things I'm going to add to the crumble will help slow down the absorption of any sugar anyway. Even though I'm having a sweet breakfast, I still have that lovely steady rise. Your body's actually primed for carbohydrates and sugars in the morning. You're waking up after that overnight fast. So all of your muscles kind of really readily suck up all of those carbohydrates when we start to break them down and absorb them into our body. If we are thinking about having a breakfast like this, don't listen to the kind of fear-mongering of people being like, oh no, fruit and sweet tasting things for breakfast is the worst thing ever. Like, no, if you build it right, you're absolutely fine. So the crumble I'm literally going to make by eye, and it's a really, really simple mix. So some nice organic jumbo oats. Then I'm also going to add some milled flax seeds, really, really high in vitamin E. And again, fantastic source of fiber. I also really like the lovely nutty taste that these give. Chia seeds, not too many. The secret ingredient is actually egg whites. So egg whites are going to give this a boost of protein, but they're also going to help bind it together. So just a little splash there, probably about 3 or 4 egg whites. I like buying it like this because it stops me wasting any yolks. I'm just going to add a little bit of honey. The honey, again, is going to be another good binder. It's sticky, it's tacky, it's going to help make this into that kind of crumbly cluster topping that we all know and love. But then, because I don't want to use too much honey, I'm just going to sweeten this up with a little bit of stevia again. One thing I love about making this breakfast is I genuinely love to have it as a sweet treat or a snack later in the day as well. Final thing, instead of using butter, I actually like to use a nut butter. Forms exactly the same purpose, adds those fats just to help this form those lovely clusters and go really gorgeous and buttery, but I'm going to be getting all of the health benefits from using a nut butter. Tahini is actually made from milled sesame seeds, which again are super, super high in vitamin E, which is a lovely, lovely antioxidant. I'm just going to add a little bit of that tahini, probably about 2 tablespoons. You can use any nut or seed butter that you like. Almond butter works really well, peanut butter, cashew nut butter, if you have that available, is absolutely delicious. I get them from M&S, it's worldy. Then I also like to add a little pinch of salt into my crumble top. I feel like it accentuates the sweetness. If you want to incorporate a little bit of cinnamon or ginger, you can definitely do that. And then mix it all together. Extra things to mention is I always use jumbo oats. So jumbo oats are slightly thicker than rolled oats, a little bit harder to digest. And it's the fact that they're harder to digest, which means that they're going to be slowly absorbed into the body. Oats are a really good source of something called beta-glucans, and beta-glucans help form this kind of gel-like consistency when you digest them. Exactly the same way that chia seeds swell with water, oats will also form that kind of same kind of swollen texture in the gut. And this is so good for helping something called fecal bulk, which isn't necessarily the most delicious word in the world. But this basically means that it's going to help transit time, it's going to help everything moving through the body, optimizing your gut health, not feeling bloated, looking after your skin, having that healthy glow, all of those things. The best thing that you can possibly do is just have a poo. So incorporating foods that are going to help assist your natural digestive function is such a brilliant way to do this. So with my fruit, all I'm going to do now is top each of these with that little sticky crumble mix. And there are my lovely little breakfast crumbles. So I've got that base of mixed fruits. I've got that crumbly oaty top with jumbo oats, flax seeds, chia seeds, honey, tahini, egg whites to bind. So I'm gonna stick these into the air fryer to bake now, probably for around 25 minutes to half an hour. And we are done. Like properly crispy as well. Who doesn't want crumble for breakfast? I'm gonna take one of these and just leave it to one side to cool down. And then what I'll do is I will pop the lid on and store that in my fridge. This is a portion for two. I'm gonna be having this with some Greek yogurt from M&S. This is a 0% one. People always go nuts when people eat 0% yogurt now. It all depends on your goals. If I want to have as much protein as possible, when I know I've already got all of my healthy fats in the other part of my meal, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a good natural 0% strained yogurt like this. So I'm just gonna serve this up now and probably have it with about 150 grams of this yogurt, which is gonna give me around 15 grams of protein. And voila, that is it. That is my high fiber, antioxidant rich, packed full of good nutrition, breakfast crumble with a bag of frozen fruits, so super economical, great for meal prep. It literally tastes like you're eating a dessert for breakfast, but you've got enough of those complexities to mean that it's not just gonna be a big glucose spike first thing in the morning. Paired with a really good high protein yogurt to really hit those targets. It's a combination of that fiber and the protein, which is actually gonna keep me full. This is a sweet breakfast that honestly will keep me full up until lunch. I'll be focused, I'll be steady all morning. Really, really satisfied too. I will see you guys for lunch. Right, so for lunch, let's make one of my favorite dinners. I got obsessed with this for so long. These are my crispy chicken tacos. This is normally a little bit more effort than I would normally put in for lunch, but I've just got them on my mind and I have the ingredients in to make them. So let's cook. As with anything, I like to try and cram in as many vegetables as possible. So what I'm gonna do is basically make the filling, which is gonna have some pre-cooked chicken that I've already brought. I get this one from Marks & Spencer's. This is the flame grilled British chicken mini fillets. I really like the flavor of them and I always find that they come so soft and delicious. I've got half a red pepper here, which I'm gonna throw in, some red onion, red pepper for that vitamin C content, nice red onion for that extra fiber boost, all of those skin loving nutrients and vitamins, immune system supporting, all of that good stuff. And I'm also gonna add some cherry tomatoes in here because these are gonna make it nice and juicy for the filling. So this filling is kind of fajita style. I'm just gonna prep this red onion, roughly dice that. I always say this, cook once, eat twice is such a great hack for eating well. It just means that even though I'm putting in a little bit more time today to make lunch, when I have it tomorrow, I've already got the filling to go. I'll have some extra portions of that dip as well, so I can literally throw this together and have it ready within 5 minutes tomorrow. Think of your future self. And sometimes I cut these into little fajita strips, but I'm actually gonna dice it today. And the reason being, I find when I dice it, it stops the fallout from something like this. So you know, if you get a sandwich or something, you've got those really long strips in, whenever I take a bite, I'm always just there, like half the sandwich hanging out. And then just chop these cherry tomatoes in half. For my spices, I've just opened my cupboard, seen what I've got. I've got some cayenne pepper, I've got some chipotle paste. Love this stuff, just gives such a nice smokiness. Some hot smoked paprika and a little bit of oregano. You can literally just use smoked paprika if you want. If you have any sort of like fajita spice seasoning, this also works really well here. So I've just got my red onion, I've got my diced red pepper, I've got my cherry tomatoes, and all I'm gonna do now is saute this all together in kind of like a fajita style, add some of the shredded chicken. I'm also gonna add in some black beans because I'm making a conscious effort to really increase my fiber intake this year, and I just think we should all be eating more beans. These are the ones that I love. I literally bulk buy these Bold Bean Co ones, I think. And also really interestingly, when you buy beans in glass jars versus tins, they're much easier on the digestive system, and it's just the way that they are cooked. So they're actually cooked quite quickly and high pressured in tins. So a lot of the things that cause people problems when it comes to beans and their gut health can be more triggered when you buy them in tins, but when you buy them in jars, they are more slowly cooked, and it breaks down a lot of those byproducts which are responsible for causing people discomfort, excess gas. So if you do find that you struggle with beans, actually buying those beans that are in glass jars can really help you digest them, which is just a fun little tip. So let's go over to the oven now, make this filling, and then we can build our little crispy tacos. So stick my hob on to a medium heat, a little bit of olive oil, adding that red onion, pepper and tomatoes. Then a little bit of that oregano. A pinch of salt now, and what the salt's going to do is actually help draw the water out of the vegetables, which is just going to help them cook down a little bit quicker. Nice teaspoon of that chipotle paste. For the chicken, I just tear it up with my hands and add it in. I've used about 160 grams of chicken in here. Tomato puree and deglaze actually with a little bit of water. It's going to help get all of that flavour off the base of the pan and into the dish. You'll see how quickly this came together. Like, it really didn't take a lot of effort at all. And then just for that fibre boost, I'm going to add a couple of spoons of those black beans. I love using the bean stock, especially in the glass jars too. It has this amazing kind of viscosity and thickness. It just adds so much kind of texture to sauces, to stews, to chili con carnes. This is now looking gorgeous and unctuous. Adding those beans and a little bit of their stock has just made it a little bit more glossy and lovely. That's perfect. And I've literally made that in 6 minutes. Perfect. So that is my chipotle chicken mix that I'm going to use to make my crispy chicken tacos. I could also load this onto a sweet potato if I wanted. If you don't have any tortillas, you can use a pita. There's about 50 grams of protein in here from the combination of those black beans and the chicken. So it's a 25 gram protein portion for when I split this in between two. When I add the protein from the wheat-based product that I use or corn-based product, these have an additional 1 gram of protein. So I'm gonna have 3 of these, so that's 3 grams of protein. I then pair it with that yogurt-based dressing, an additional boost of protein. So I'm going to be hitting about 30 gram protein lunch with still lots of those lovely fiber types, lots of diversity. I've got beans, I've got red onion, I've got that red pepper, tomatoes, all of these things, herbs and spices as well, also feed the gut microbiome. I'm always, when making my meals, thinking about eating for 2 and how I'm going to feel in an hour's time or 2 hours time. A lot of people ask me if I snack. And the truth is, I don't really need snacks because I build really nice, filling, satisfying meals that give me every single thing that I need. And I often feel content up until my next mealtime. So I'm going to be having 3 of these tacos. So what I'm going to do is take this chipotle mix, put a little spoonful, half of it onto a tortilla. And then all I do is kind of fold it over and press together. And then the mix itself will just make it stick together. Like, don't overload them, otherwise they will break and go everywhere. And that extra mix, I'm just going to stick into one of my Black and Blum containers. For the crispiness, all I do is bake them. So into my air fryer, a little sheet of that not grease-proof paper, layer my little tacos up. And they are perfect. So now I'm gonna stick these in, I'm probably gonna air fry them at about 195 for about 12 minutes. I am gonna flip halfway so they color on both sides. And whilst they cook, I'm gonna make the sauce. Okay, so to make the sauce, you're just gonna need a nice powerful blender. And then I'm gonna add a big handful of coriander. If you don't like coriander, you can use parsley. Then 1 spring onion, a little bit of fresh jalapeno. Normally I would use green, but I don't have any green, so I've put the green fresh one in. I'm just gonna add about a tablespoon of this brine mix. It's a little bit sweet, which I just think you need that balance of kind of spicy, sweet, salty. A few spoonfuls of yogurt, some garlic granules, avocado for those healthy fats, and this is just gonna give it a lovely richness. I don't need loads, only need about 1/4, so pop that in. Thought I had a lime, but I think my husband used it in gin and tonics. Should be lime in here, but there's not gonna be lime in here. I'm just gonna add a little bit of extra acid. So a little bit of red wine vinegar. Now, to blend. So that is my super vibrant, gorgeous green sauce. Oh, it is so good. It's like creamy, salty, punchy. All the fresh herbs in there give it so much vibrancy. I mean, look at the color. So my little tacos are done. I also love the little gnarly bits of filling that you get when you toast them. And they're just perfectly crispy. You can do these in a pan if you don't have an air fryer. So just in a frying pan, flipping them until you got a nice amount of color. And then you just take that lovely crispy taco, dunk it into that super rich, creamy jalapeno avocado sauce. This is literally heaven. Oh, these are illegally good. So that is my lunch, my crispy chipotle chicken tacos with the most addictive dipping sauce. Make this fully vegetarian by just using the black beans. I will see you guys for dinner. This is a really, really lovely recipe if you've got that kind of Thai curry craving, but you want something that is super, super simple. You can chuck it all in one pot. It's a real family winner as well, this one. So this dish, we're gonna do every single thing in one pot. And we're also gonna utilize the healthy convenience of pre-cooked rice. So a quick pack of microwave rice is what is gonna make this meal so speedy. We're gonna have it from prep to table in 15 minutes. It's a misconception that buying pre-cooked grains are not as healthy as cooking them from scratch. So basically starchy foods like rice, potatoes, your bread, when you cook and cool them, the starch kind of expands, and then as it cools, it changes shape to become a little bit harder to break down and digest. What resistant starch acts like is fiber. So your gut bacteria are actually able to metabolize and break down the resistant starch in your food. So buying a pack of the microwave rice, you're actually going to be getting higher resistant starch content than if you were making it from fresh, which means it actually has a lower glycemic index, so a lower blood glucose spike, and more friendly for your gut bacteria. Healthy convenience all the way. Also, I'm terrible at cooking rice. For my protein, I'm gonna be using some nice cod loins. They're gonna cook really kind of quickly and lovely into this coconut sauce. First things first, this sauce is actually a blender sauce. So what I'm gonna do is take a tin of light coconut milk, tip that into my blender, big spoonful of red curry paste, probably about 2 tablespoons. To that I want to add 2 spring onions, roughly chopped. And I'm going to flavour up this mix with a little bit of extra fish sauce, a little bit of soy. I add a chicken stock pot. And all I'm going to do now is blend that all together. I love doing it in the blender because it means that I can just incorporate all of those flavors, and then I'm literally just gonna pour it straight over my dish. So you'll see how quick and easy this is. So you need to grab a pot, literally break up your rice with your hands and then just rip the top off and pour it in. Spread that over the base of your dish. And then using my julienne peeler, I'm actually just going to julienne lovely little ribbons of courgette over this. The reason why I like using courgette in this is a really quick vegetable to cook. It's not going to take long. And I'm going to do exactly the same with a carrot. I will just distribute that all over. I'm using cod for this, but you can use any protein you like. All of my recipes, you can always just be flexible with what protein you like or you eat. So you can use prawns, you can use chicken, you can use nice little pieces of tofu if you fancy. So just put those on top like that. And all I do now is pour that sauce straight over the cod and all of that rice. Just like so. And pop a lid onto it. And I'm just gonna stick that onto the hob now for about 15 minutes, just so it simmers, cooks down. The cod is lovely and translucent and flaky. Then I'm just gonna garnish it with some freshly diced spring onion, a little bit of chili oil, and that is dinner done. So easy. And rightio gang, that is dinner done. I feel like this is almost too quick to try and do long form for, but this really is just one of the quickest, easiest, but tastes so beautiful and like something you would order from a takeaway with such minimal effort. Cod just steams perfectly in that sauce, so you get left with this lovely, soft, flaky fish. But I just love it. I think it's such an easy, great formula. You saw how quick this was to literally throw together. Even if you've had a long day, it's still something that I would be able to muster up the effort to put on the table. And it's a crowd pleaser. And then to serve, you just spoon all of that lovely coconutty rice. And the carrot and courgette just make those lovely little ribbons that are kind of like noodle-esque. I'm using my pretty spoon, but it's probably not the most practical spoon. Take one of those lovely bits of cod and just pop her straight on that. That is it. That is dinner. I'm so looking forward to eating this. Of course, it needs an extra little bit of crispy chili oil. It's my favorite one from one of my favorite Japanese restaurants in London. And this is the Dining's Umami Chili Oil. You can order it online off their restaurant website, and I highly recommend you do so. It's just got the most amazing little crispy bits of garlic in, and it's so good. Oh, it's so good. That for me is an absolute winner. Right, I'm gonna serve this up, go and have a nice dinner. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys loved this, what I eaten today. Also, hopefully better sound that I actually plugged my mic into my phone this time. You know what to do, like, subscribe, be sure to follow along for lots more of this content. Bye.